The Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, is seeking a constitutional arrangement that will empower the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct uniform elections for all the 774 local government areas in the country. The local government body also wants the state independent electoral commissions scrapped to allow INEC conduct the local government elections every 4 years, just as it is done for state and the federal elective positions. ALGON reached the position at a press conference on Saturday in response to Thursday's Supreme Court judgment that granted financial autonomy to local government councils in the country.
Urge the government to look into promptly. 1. Scrap State Independent Electoral Commission, that is the SEC, and empower INEC to conduct uniform election for the 774 local governments across the country and mirroring the 4 years tenure of state and federal offices. Remove Section 7 and 8 from the Constitution.
This local government autonomy has given rise to the people of the country. In every local government of Nigeria, the people now have a voice to call for accountability from the local government chairman.
If a governor conducts the election of a local government chairman, return a local government chairman, and he send money to him direct, he can call him to bring that money to the government house. If he didn't do it today, tomorrow they will repeat the chairman. So we need to protect local government the way the president has started.
Not just having the autonomy of funds at the disposal of the local government councils. We have to talk about the security of those funds. It is on this note that the ALGON Board of Trustees have appointed Mr. Babatunde Samuel. He's a financial expert, a chartered accountant, a practicing accountant in Nigeria, to manage the finances of the local government by way of monitoring them, as well as how much comes out from the federation account.
And suddenly, there will be so much money in the local councils, and we hope they, put it to proper use for development. Let's go to other stories now. Delta State Governor Honorable Sheriff Oborewori states that the Supreme Court's judgment on local government autonomy has no impact on Delta State. He emphasizes the state's ongoing support for financial autonomy for the legislature and judiciary. Speaking after voting at Unit 33, Osubi Ward 6 in Okpe local government area, Governor Oborewori notes that his administration refrains from appointing caretaker committees allowing heads of personnel management to oversee the transition for 3 months until elections are held. Oborewori highlights the state's history of financial transparency and support for local government. On the local government polls, the governor praises the transparent and fair process, expressing confidence in the PDP's victory.
The issue of the Supreme Court judgment, it doesn't not affect Delta State, because Delta State will don't temper with local government money. As we speak, the money for the past 3 months is still there. Almost 14 billion is still there, waiting for the chairman to take over. So we don't touch government money. We augment. So without the judgment, Supreme Court say they should have autonomy. I believe in financial autonomy. As a former speaker, we're in the forefront of the issue of financial autonomy for the legislature and for the judiciary. So those judgments don't affect the state. So we still believe in it.
Well, how will this development help to improve the local government? Will the governors actually hand out funds of the councils? Let's have this conversation with Daniel Onjeh, who has been a strong advocate of local government autonomy and a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Benue State. Very warm welcome to Newsnight.
Thank you so much.
So tell us, I mean, the ululation is high in all nooks and crannies of Nigeria about, you know, these local government autonomy. But is the Supreme Court's ruling a satisfactory conclusion of the vexed issue of local government autonomy? Algon is asking that there should be a constitutional amendment so that INEC can conduct elections for local government.
Well, the Supreme Court judgment is not too different from past judgments that have been given in this regard with reference to the local government autonomy. But one thing that makes this a marked different from the rest is the express pronouncement that the Supreme Court has made on who take charge of the local government funds, and condemning the governors for, you know, tampering or interfering with the local government funds, and also dissolving elected local government officials at will. Now, with this express pronouncement, it is expected that the lawmakers, the National Assembly, swing into action to provide the legal framework that will support and consolidate this judgment. For Nigerians, I would like to say a very big congratulations and welcome Nigerians into a new era of political and socio-economic advancement. With this judgment, we believe that the boundaries will clearly be spelled. Our constitution, the 1999 Constitution as amended, provides for 3 tiers of government: the federal, the state, and of course, the local government. But over time, the governors maintain a very firm grip on the political and administrative activities of the local government, and including the financial dealings. But with the initiative that Mr. President has taken by taking the bull by the horns, and also the courage the Supreme Court judges have displayed by giving this landmark judgment, I think it has created an opportunity for Nigerians to address the teaching problems and challenges of underdevelopment and insecurity that we have. Because insecurity in the rural area is synonymous to the total or absence of governance at the grassroots. For instance, the local government roads are abandoned or being abandoned by the very people who control the resources, which is the state government or the state governors. If spaces are opened up for infrastructural development and investment in these local areas, development will have encroached into the hideouts of these criminal elements and bandits, where they use as their hideouts. So it is expected that with all the Nigerians have gone through, although there were arguments of embezzlement, misappropriation of funds hitherto by the local government authorities, before we reverse back to where we are right now. Even though in 1999, at the inception of the President Obasanjo's administration, there was no total autonomy such as financial, because the governors were still in control.
Let's look at some of, the indices that the Supreme Court, used in arriving at its decision, which a lot of people have hailed. And some Nigerians still fear that the state governments still have the powers to wield, particularly in the conduct of local council polls, which they can just decide who becomes the chairman and still have that total control. Do you share this kind of anxiety as a politician?
Well, as a politician, I know that that is a very, very likely thing that is to happen, so long as the state independent, the state electoral commissions are charged with the responsibility to conduct the elections. The true and genuine political and administrative independence can only be attained if INEC is allowed to conduct the election. But in the interim, I think one step at a time. We've achieved something from the judgment of the Supreme Court. It has provided the platform or the basis for discourse. Now it is left for the lawmakers to provide a legal framework, which includes empowering the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct elections of local government. But as it is right now, given the pronouncement, the Attorney General of the Federation is expected to also provide the way forward on account of the federal government, the approach towards implementing this decision of the Supreme Court. But I will want to suggest, in my own opinion, because as it is right now, INEC lacks the power to conduct these elections. We still have state electoral bodies in charge of the conduct of elections of local government positions. So we have caretaker committees.
Not recognized by the Constitution.
Not recognized, but that is what is in existence now in most of the states in Nigeria.
Sorry, before you go on, if you say that's what is in existence in most of the states,
yes,
would you say that the federal government's decision to go to court and sort, the legal boundaries for local government, does it, some school of thought are saying it's a deliberate witch hunt of the state government. Do you agree?
No, I don't think this is a witch hunt of the state government. What basically the federal government, for any administration who knows his onions and what is salt, will want to concentrate on the development of the grassroots. And in doing that, you will need to empower the local authorities. For example, the provision of security logistics at the local government is going to help in addressing the insecurity challenges we have across the country. And you agree with me that these bandits we talk about always, we don't see them, carrying out the operations within cities like Abuja, Lagos,
They came to Abuja and all of them. Why are you saying they don't?
No, what we mean, you don't see them operating as much as you hear in the rural areas, right? So it means there's total absence of governance in that place. But given the political independence and administrative, independence with the requisite resources, it is our earnest belief that they are able to provide the basic security logistics to attend to the insecurity we have in our rural areas.
That brings me to the question. What then do you think, in your own opinion, because you've brought up the issue of caretaker committees, which are not constitutionally recognized. So what will be the implication of this judgment on such committees in the majority of the states in Nigeria?
Well, like I answered you that it is not a witch hunt. So the federal government is not at war with the state governors. For every political process, for a change to occur in a political process, there's a transition. So what I want to suggest is that the federal government bring out the blueprints on how to, implement these judgments, not by just clamping down on the states, but allowing for transition. Most of the states that are operating caretaker committee right now, I'm sure, even if any of the state is just in its first month, because mostly the tenure of the caretakers is 6 months. So even if a state is just in its first month of the 6th month,
they should allow them
before,
and still draw allocation from the federation
what
accounts.
I mean, before the legal framework will be put in place, before the
law is there already. From the day it was pronounced by the justices of the Supreme Court, it has become law.
But there's going to be a lacuna.
What lacuna?
The
lacuna here is that if you have caretaker committees, they are not recognized by law, so there won't be allocation. It's going to be zero allocation.
That is what we're saying. If they give a timeline to these people to conduct elections so that they can be elected officers that will man the affairs of the local government. Now, given your perspective, should now the innocent citizens bear the brunt of this litigation and the outcome of the litigation? What will happen to the primary health care in these rural areas? What will happen to the educational sector in these rural areas? What will happen to the teachers? If they don't earn their pays, how will they go to the class? So are we supposed to keep the children of the rural dwellers out of school and also shut or cut them off health care? No. They certainly can bear the brunt. So there's a lacuna. The only way is to come to terms. What Nigerians were earnestly looking for has been given to them. This judgment has returned governance back to the people at the grassroots. And it will allow for fiscal devolution. For any true federalism to take effect in Nigeria, there has to be fiscal devolution. And this is what we've achieved by this judgment now. So in my own very, very considered opinion, the implementation should be a process because there's going to be lacuna. Most of these states we're talking about, they have no elected officials or executive council at the local government in place. So if there's a directive from the federal government that once you run the full length of the 6 months of the caretaker, you must conduct an election. Then it will be clear to Nigerians.
That is extending illegality.
If you give that condition,
governance.
If you give that condition, the citizens themselves at the local government, at the grassroots, will be the one to put the governors on their toes until elections are conducted, to ensure that as soon as the tenure of the caretaker is elapses, elections are conducted immediately so that elected officers can occupy. Otherwise, in the absence of that, a call for the suspension of funds to the various states with caretaker committee is also a call for the citizens to bear the brunt of the policy that is intended to ameliorate their suffering and safeguard their environment.
Well, no better place for you to really hit the nail on the head there. Thanks so very much. Daniel Onjeh is a politician and the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Benue State.
Thank you so much.